holding my books, walking down the hallway, terrified. My head was down. I was looking at the floor. I was almost to the classroom that I had to get extra help in. And one of my buddies turned the corner and he says to me, "Hey, Katey, go into the special classroom." And I remember looking at him and standing up straight and tall and saying, "Yeah, I am." It was the first time I ever got to stand up for myself, to truly stand within myself and stand up for me being different and being grateful and okay to be different.
Today's guest is my dear friend, Katey Fortun, working at an incredible commercial furniture dealer from home for her day job and building her dream brand and business. Katey is the Different Ability podcast host. Now I hear you say, what's the Different Ability podcast? Talk more about that. The Different Ability girl who isn't afraid of being herself, that makes friends for a living. Yes, you heard that right. And here to break down the stigma of being different is bad. And it's time we celebrated our differences. Katey's mission is to break down the stigma that being different is bad. Being different is amazing. And that's where we celebrate our differences. Katey also is dyslexic. Welcome, Katey.
Thank you so much for having me, Anita. I'm so excited to be here today.
Thank you. It's been a credible journey. And so as we are Create the Courage to Be Fearless podcast, what is one of your most courageous things you have done?
It's a great question. There's probably many things, but one of my most courageous things I ever did do was the first time I ever had to stand up for myself. And if you'd like, I can share that story. Well, it was the first time right after being diagnosed with dyslexia that I had to leave the classroom to get extra help. And I will never forget feeling terrified to leave. And I didn't want to walk down that hallway, and I was scared if people would say something. So I remember walking down the hallway. It was in 5th grade. So technically I wasn't in elementary school anymore. I was in middle school. That's what we call it here in the States. And I remember holding my books, walking down the hallway, terrified. My head was down. I was looking at the floor, and I was almost to the classroom that I had to get extra help in. And one of my buddies turned the corner and he says to me, "Hey, Katey, go into the special classroom." And I remember looking at him and standing up straight and tall and saying, "Yeah, I am." And I walked on by him and turned the corner to go to the classroom. Now, when I turned the corner, though, I was like, "Oh my gosh, what just happened? What did I just do?" I was terrified, but I went to that classroom. And something when I speak to students and people all over is I am really grateful for that time. Yes, did I get, quote, teased for being different and going to a different classroom? Yes, I did. But here's the thing. I really thank him every single day. I don't condone bullying. No. Bullying is not okay with me. But I do thank him for that because it was the first time I ever got to stand up for myself. He allowed me that first time to truly stand within myself and stand up for me being different and being grateful and okay to be different.
Absolutely. And good on you. Absolutely. Well done, Katey. What age were you diagnosed then? What age was that at in middle school?
So in Wisconsin, that's where I'm from, the United States. So the town I grew up in, kindergarten through 4th grade was elementary school, and then 5th through 8th grade was middle, and then you have the 9, 10, 11, 12 high school. So because we do not graduate at 16 like you got, we graduated at 18, so we have a few more years left. And so for me, I actually was diagnosed between elementary school and middle school, so right between 4th and 5th grade, which gets me right around, I believe I was around 10 at the time when I was diagnosed. And at the time, that was, for me, it felt late because I struggled so much through elementary school. But there's so many other people in the world similar to what you talk about, is that you were diagnosed way later in life. And so everyone's a little different, but that's something that's really important to me is early diagnosis, because the second I was diagnosed, my whole world opened up. I finally was like, wow, I'm not stupid, dumb, or alone like I felt. I knew that
Mhm.
I just learn differently. I do things a little differently, and that is absolutely okay.
Absolutely. So that was my next question. I think you've just touched on it there. What did it feel like knowing you were dyslexic?
Well, honestly, actually, I'm glad you do ask this, because before I was diagnosed was when I felt that dumb, stupid, alone, like something was wrong with me. Why can't I get this? But when I was diagnosed,
Mhm.
like I said, it opened up my entire life. I knew that I wasn't that. I knew I just learned differently. So I'm not going to say it was easy and like all flowers and
Mhm.
butterflies and rainbows, because it wasn't. But at the time, I kept reminding myself, you know what, Katey, you learn differently and it's okay. When things were really hard, I just had to remind myself that I'm dyslexic. I have dyslexia, but dyslexia doesn't have me. I just do things a little differently. So I wanted to
Mm.
learn about some of the things that I needed to succeed in life. And that is what I did. I did some tests on myself. I did this reading test where I asked a teacher to give me like a piece of paper and with a bunch of like a story on it or something. And I wanted to figure
Okay.
out how many times it took me to truly understand that entire page when reading it. And it took me 4 times. I have to read it four
Wow.
times to actually understand what is going on in that story. But however, if I hear it audio, I know it instantly and I can repeat everything back to you. So right then I knew
Wow.
that my best way to learn was to hear things, to
Hmm.
have things read to me. And again, I can read, but I know if I need to understand something, I'm going to do the audio version because it's the best way for me. Because quite honestly, reading something 4 times over and over and over again, that takes a lot of time. So we don't have all the time in the world to do that, everything. So that's something that I wanted to learn about myself. And that really did help me in my future.
That's excellent. And talking about your future, because I know you went ahead and got a university degree. So it just
Yes.
shows. Tell me more about that.
Oh my goodness. Well, yes. So I went through obviously middle school knowing I have dyslexia, high school. I was really proud. I grew up in a very small town. I
Hmm.
graduated at 18 with, I think, 93 students in our class. So it was very small. Um, and I remember I graduated, I think it was right around 14th in my class. So that was a huge accomplishment even for me to say, gosh, all these
Yes.
other students did a great job too. And there were some really smart students, but I remember graduating from high school 14th in my class, which was pretty good, I thought. And then I did end up
Definitely.
going, yeah, I did end up going to University of Wisconsin Stout, which is up north in Wisconsin. And I went for interior design and sustainability. So my degree was actually in fine arts, but it had the concentration interior design. And so that was something that was important to me because it was one of my goals. I wanted to go to a 4-year college and I wanted to graduate. I worked very, very hard to do that and be on the dean's list, have multiple
Mm.
internships and have a job before I graduated. I won a couple of awards when I was there, or one for sure, being able to do that. But when I put my mind to something, I don't give up until I succeed. Even if I fail, I will try again because it was very important to me. So I did graduate. I think I did 5 years because I was double
Okay.
majoring for a little bit, and then I had the minor, and then I had an internship. So I kind of went. I mean, college was fun. I loved it. So I was very very honored and excited. And
Do you see dyslexia as being a gift?
oh, I love that question. Yes. And so I want to preface too. I forgot to talk about this. Here in the States, we call it an IEP. So when you're dyslexic, you find out that I think it's like an individual learning plan, something, individual
Hmm.
education plan, something like that. So whatever it is, I had an IEP and I utilized my accommodations all the way through. And that's very important because if you utilize your accommodations here in the States in middle school, high school, they will transfer over into college. And so I did utilize a lot of those. People ask, like, I actually just spoke at a school last week and I spoke to 700
Oh,
students. And one of the students,
wow.
I know, came up to me and asked me the question, do you ever wish you weren't dyslexic? Or do you ever feel like dyslexia was a bad thing? And
Mm-hmm.
interestingly enough, I said no. I like me being dyslexic makes me who I am. I don't think it's a bad thing. Like, I truly am grateful for it because I am who I am because of that, but also because of so many other things. I think being dyslexic is a gift because I I was put on this earth for a reason, and I truly believe that my bigger purpose is to help other students and adults and teens know that whoever they are, the way that they are different, because everyone is, utilize your differences
Yes,
and your disabilities, or as I call them, your different ability, because we all are different, to your advantage. Use them. Like, know who you are and be okay with that. And that's going to inspire other people when you're living your life. So I think it's a gift because, like I said before, I wouldn't be where I am today without it. And I wouldn't want it any other way.
and absolutely, and it's a part of us. It's we embrace who we are, like you said. It's all of us. Why would you not?
Absolutely. And that, I mean, I truly believe that everyone in this world is different. We all have our differences. We all truly learn differently. Let's be real here. The education system, at least over here, has not caught up with the times at all. We're not, let's stop teaching inside of a box and think everyone should be learning this certain way, because I, as being dyslexic, am over here on the outside of the box saying, no, 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 I'm going to kick these walls down because we all learn different. So I'm over here
Mm-hmm.
pulling walls down, being like, no, we don't need to learn in this box. We learn differently. Everyone does. And being able to know who you are and what you need in life is absolutely beautiful. So when you come up and say, you know what, I'm not the greatest at these things, not saying I can't do them, but I do so much better if I do X, Y, or Z. So let's try that. And maybe that'll work for me and might help other people too.
Absolutely, lead by example.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
You're on a mission to get your journey out there
Hmm.
in your podcast. Tell me more about that because, like you rightly said, it's called the Different Ability Podcast. I'm excited to hear more about that. That really is exciting.
Oh my gosh, yes. I will go back a little bit and kind of share with you where it started. Before I graduated college, even prior to college, actually, I had this wonderful aunt. Her name is Lynn. And she, when I was going to pick a college, I was a junior. So I had one more year left to school. And she said, hey, Katey, where are you going to go to college? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to this college over here and I'm going to be an architect. And she goes, yeah, no, you're not. Now, mind you, this aunt of mine, my great aunt, she was a special education teacher in another school. And so she knew I was dyslexic. And she said, Katey, I mean, respectfully, if you go to this other college, you're going to be a number, okay? You're not going to be who you are. Like, they're not going to know who you are at all, your name. They're not great with accommodations for students because she knows these things, right? And me
Mm-hmm.
being a junior, okay, I'm 17 years old and I'm like, seriously? And so she says this in front of my parents, right? My parents are like, oh, Katey, this is a good idea. We really should go try out, see these other colleges. You know, your Aunt Lynn knows what she's talking about. I'm like, what is happening here? Like, in my mind, I'm like, no. And so I did listen. We went and toured some of
Mm-hmm.
these other colleges that my Aunt Lynn suggested. And I fell in love with Stout. And so that's where I went, UW Stout, University of Wisconsin Stout. That was an incredible experience in and itself. So fast forward through college, I worked really hard. Yeah, like I said before, I got on the dean's list and had some great projects, won some awards.
Mm-hmm.
3 months before graduating college, something that I was so excited about, something that was just an incredible experience and one of my biggest goals. I was down in Madison, Wisconsin for an interior design show, and I will never forget getting a phone call at 5:30 in the morning from my dad. And my dad calls and says, hey, Katey, I need you to know that your Aunt Lynn has passed away unexpectedly at 56 years old.
Gosh,
And
I'm
that was,
sorry.
yeah, I know. And so thank you. The thing that why he called, people ask, why did he call you? You know, you could just find out when you get home. Well, here's the thing. My Aunt Lynn had the exact same, and I mean exact same name as my mom. And so he didn't want it to get out that, you know, my Aunt Lynn Fortun has passed away. Well, my mom's name is Lynn Fortun. So if people maybe would have known and said, did your mom die? You know what I mean? He didn't want any
Yes.
of that. And so
Mhm.
he had called me, and it was absolutely heartbreaking because I was so excited for her to see me graduate. I was so, I
Mm.
mean, excited for my parents, but I was just so excited to be like, Lynn, I did it. I graduated from college, you know, and that's something that she saw me through that journey as well. So it was really difficult, actually. And interestingly enough, though, like when I graduated, I went to a birthday party for my
Mhm.
cousin, and my my Aunt Lynn's stepdaughters, one of them came up to me and said, hey, Katey, we have a gift for you that you're going to want to see. And I said, no, 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 I'm not doing no gifts. Like, we already did
Mhm.
my graduation party. They're like, no, 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 you need to see this. And so I went over to their car, and she handed me this. She goes, open this up at home with your parents. I said, okay. So we get home, and I open it up, and it's a gift from my Aunt Lynn.
Oh,
She
wow.
had the gift already set aside, and
Mhm.
there was a lot of different little things in there which mean a lot to me to this day. But one of the biggest ones is the the Dr. Seuss book, Oh, the Places You'll Go. And so she
Mhm.
always believed in me and all of the things I'm doing. Okay. So I still have it on my shelf. I actually talk about it when I speak because I truly believe that it's really important. So where does different ability come from? Well, the first time I ever spoke in front of a crowd, ever spoke publicly, was actually at my aunt's celebration of life party. I never
Mm.
expected to. I never wanted to. But when we were all crammed in this huge place, there was hundreds of people there because that's the person she was
Mhm.
and still is, because her spirit is totally still here. Everyone
Yes.
loves her. I remember her best friend, Kim, standing up in front of everyone, and we're celebrating this beautiful life. And she says, we want to open this up. Does anyone want to share stories? And I'm not kidding you, Anita. I was standing there, and I was like, we were literally shoulder to shoulder crammed in there. And I just watched my hand raise, and I'm like, what are you doing, hand? And my hand raised up, and Kim goes, Katey, please come on up. And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing over here. Like, I didn't want to, but I got up and I
Wow.
told the story of Lynn and the college thing, not telling me what I can and cannot do.
Mhm.
And I bawled my eyes out through the entire thing, crying. But it was like the room was laughing, and just they knew that was her saying, no, you're not going to that college. You're going to go do this, you know?
Mhm.
And I shared that story, and it was absolutely amazing. I just can't forget that. So that started my journey, me speaking in front of hundreds of people that I knew, that I went to
Yes.
school with, these family members, all this stuff. I will never forget that. But that started my journey. And I knew in my heart when I was leaving that celebration of life party that I absolutely needed to keep pushing along with my journey, but also her legacy and the
Yes.
things that she had done. And I say, if I can be even 10% of what my Aunt Lynn was for so many people, I know I will change the world. I absolutely know I will. Not for me, but for everyone else. And so that started that career of starting to speak here and there a little bit. And then I swear the story is almost done. And it was many years ago. It was around the time I was speaking. So in 2012, I remember I was being feisty once with my mom, and I had said, hey, Mom, I'm really sick of this nonsense about disabilities and whatever. And I'm like,
Mhm.
it's not my disability, Mom. It's my different ability. Okay. We're all
Yes.
different. And I was like, Mom, write that down. Like, it's like, and so that's when I started speaking about being different and having a different ability, and how we should look at it as a more of a positive, because in my opinion, we need the word disability because of disability rights and all that stuff. I'm not taking that away. I want children, young adults, teens, and adults to know that you have a different ability. It's not a
Yes.
diss, it's not a negative thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
a positive thing. You do something different, and that is absolutely amazing. And I want you to celebrate your differences. I decided 2 years ago to build a true business out of this because I was doing it more and more. And I wanted it to be this bigger thing, not for me, but for others. And so I actually did get different ability trademarked. And sorry, I just saw an animal outside. Sorry, that just distracted me. It looked like a bear. It's not, don't worry. I don't think. Okay, so side note. So yeah, I got it trademarked. It's just an incredible thing. It was a really crazy process, very long process, but totally worth it. So different ability right now is something I speak about, and I get paid to speak to different schools, and I'm building that up even more. But also it's a podcast, the Different Ability Podcast, and it's an entire brand. There is so much more coming the way of different ability. And I'm so excited because I want people to share their different abilities. And that's why I had you on my podcast. So if anyone's listening and didn't know, check it out. Her episode, Anita, your episode was amazing. And you did
Thank
such a
you.
wonderful job. I'm so grateful to be able to share people's stories, to have a platform for people to come on and share their stories so they don't feel alone. I don't want them to feel like, man, I'm the only person in the world that feels like this. When you hear other people's stories, that really connects people, and that is, you're able to be who you are and say, wow, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
If they can do it, I can do it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the long version of where different ability came from. But yeah, it's a really great journey.
Absolutely love your story, and bless your auntie. It's fantastic having that switch it around, turn it on its head. And that's exactly what you did. Whether you realized it or not, in that epiphany moment, you are going to do such wonderful work. And it's showing already with your speaking gigs, your podcast. And I'm so excited. I'm
Oh,
excited about it. And thank you, Katey.
thank you. And I'm so honored and excited that we connected, and these amazing connections like yourself that I have. I do believe we were put in each other's lives for a reason. And I do believe our paths are going to cross many times over and over again, because you and I both are doing very similar things, but
Mm-hmm.
across the world, and connecting with so many great, amazing people. And so, in my opinion, I don't believe in competition. I believe that we
No.
work together to build this greater and more beautiful world. And I'm so honored to know you and be able to connect with you and be friends with you, because, my friend, we have lots of things to do. And I'm excited to go on that journey alongside you.
And you, Katey, I can't wait. I can't wait. It's absolutely fantastic. Being dyslexic, what are your hobbies, interests? Do you find things you naturally gravitate towards?
That's a great question. Yes, I gravitate obviously towards design. So I shouldn't say obviously. I went to school for interior design. I think I had said that. But
Mm-hmm.
anything that is to do with building and creating and being creative, because again, I'm not great at reading, writing, spelling, but I
Mm-hmm.
am very good at visualizing and working with
Mm-hmm.
my hands and building things. And that's why I love what I do for my day job as well, because I am helping people every single day in their offices and businesses and hospitals and schools
Mm-hmm.
create spaces for people and create these areas of connection. And I really love that. So I'm great at that kind of stuff. I was very good at volleyball back in the day, the hand-eye coordination, and
Oh,
I'm
excellent.
very competitive over here. So I'm very, like, when it comes to sports, like, watch out. And so I'm very competitive that way. But being able to connect with people, that's another thing that I gravitate towards, is that connection. Again, not great at the reading, writing, spelling. And if I had to write a letter to someone, I can do it, sure. But if I could talk to you face to face, 100,000% I would do it over any kind of form of let's write a letter and all that kind of stuff. So those are the types of things, hobbies. I like to hike, a lot of social things, but people that know me think that I love to talk, and you on here probably could hear this now because I talk a lot. But I also am very extroverted, but I really am introverted in the evenings and on the weekend. Like I really like my own time, and I really crave me time because I'm always so having to be on all the time for my day job and speaking and in front of all these students and whatever I do. When I come home, I'm totally going to put my pajamas on and cuddle up and watch a show or just lay there and take a little nap or whatever that is, because I do crave that time by myself as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely can relate to that. That's excellent. And we need self-care.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. That's another thing, I guess. I work out. That helps me a ton is I work out every morning during the week at 5 a.m. With a group of awesome, amazing people. We have group class, fitness class, and that really helps me get my energy going for the day. But at the same time, I will tell you, I am the worst, and I'm going to have my fiance listen to this because he'll be over there being like, yes, yes, yes. I overdo it 99% of the time. Like I am terrible. I'm working on boundaries. I'm always working on that. But oh my goodness, man, do I put a lot on my plate, and I need to, I say I need to work on it, Anita, but since we talked on my podcast, I have a new job opportunity, and I am going with it, and not even new, like changing. No, I'm adding to what I'm currently doing. So I'm like, what am I doing right now?
Oh,
so
gosh.
Yeah.
If you never had enough on your plate already.
We'll see how it goes. It's actually a great opportunity. I haven't really spoke about this publicly, but and maybe whatever, it doesn't matter. But I have an opportunity. It's not 100% done, but actually I was asked to go teach interior design at my old school, UW Stout.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
So, yes, I'm very excited about that opportunity. And I say it's an opportunity because they have to do the whole background check and stuff, which I mean, I don't even have a ticket, so I'm hoping it all is fine. But yeah, so I just have a few little things left. And this fall, crossing my fingers, I'll be teaching up at UW Stout interior design classes. So I'm very excited.
That's fantastic. Well done.
Yeah.
So what resources do you recommend, daily tips, to anyone that is dyslexic and wants to follow their passion? Because sometimes people feel, oh, they're passionate about this, but being dyslexic, oh, I can't do that. This is really where your different ability kicks in.
Yes, that's a great question. Thank you for asking. Number one, and I teach this and I'm building courses on it right now. I point back here because I have a whole wall of the course that I'm building. The number one thing, in my opinion, that you have to do first and foremost, always, and keep doing it, is learn about yourself. You have got to learn about what you are great at and things that you are maybe struggle with and you're not the greatest at. So I call it my strengths and areas of improvement. I want people to think about those types of things, because if you know who you are inside and out and the things you're really good at, but the things you need some help with, that is building your confidence. It's building your advocacy for yourself to be able to go out and do the things that you may not think you can do. And I'm going to put it back into perspective of having this opportunity to teach. Don't you think that because it's true, I believed at one point, I'm like, this is a great opportunity. And then 2 seconds later, I'm like, can I actually do this?
Yeah.
Would I even be good at what? And like back and forth, I've been feeling this way for the last week and a half, and it's been ups and downs and highs and lows. But I know who I am, and I tell myself, Katey, you can do this. And I believe this. Anyone listening, I don't care if you have dyslexia or not. Anyone listening, you can do anything you put your mind to. It's a lot of hard work, determination, and never, ever giving up. You can't give up. And so you're going to fail. You're going to struggle. There are things that are going to go right, and there's things that are going to go wrong. But really, and people have heard this, but in the failures and in the struggle, that's where you learn the most. And being able to take that and say, wow, I wouldn't do that the same next time, so maybe I should change this or that. And I think that is absolutely important for you to be able to go after your dreams. And I actually push people to dream bigger.
Yes.
If you think about and go back to, I do this all the time, little Katey, 4th grade Katey doesn't know she's dyslexic, struggling. Then there's Katey that finds out she's dyslexic, still struggling, but getting help, which is great. Then there's Katey in high school. It's like, I'm going to be an interior designer or architect. Great. Look where I'm at now. Look at the things I'm doing. I could have never imagined doing, like literally just last week, I spoke to 700 middle schoolers. Okay. Now, middle schoolers are tough because they have opinions. And it was amazing to do that. They were feisty. They pushed back at me. They gave me their opinions, but we had a wonderful time.
Oh.
And so I would have never in my wildest dreams expected when I graduated high school, even in middle school, whatever it is, that I would be speaking in front of hundreds of people. I would be having a podcast. I would be building a business of my dreams, traveling all over, talking to someone over in the London area.
Yes.
Are you kidding me? Like, these are the types of things that would, in my wildest dreams, I would have never guessed. So dream big and absolutely go after your goals and your opportunities and the things that you just don't know where it's going to lead to. Honestly, you don't know. So I'd say go for it and don't give up.
Absolutely. And I love everything you've just said. Thank you for sharing that.
You're very welcome.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Oh, Katey. So where can the listeners find you online? What's your website? And if you'd like to make sure they get the name of your podcast again, please.
Absolutely. Well, yes, you can connect with me anywhere, pretty much on any social except Twitter. I mean, guys, I don't want to do that. I have nothing against it. I'm just on a lot of other things. So you have your traditional Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, because that's my professional page. I have my website. It's kateyfortun.com, and I'll spell it. It's KateyFortun.com. Everything's really there. I mean, that's probably your best place to go. You'll see where you can connect with my podcast, my YouTube shows on there, my web or my shop. I have a online shop where you can buy some cool stuff, getting it updated. There's more things I have to order. All these students like, I want your t-shirt. I have a t-shirt that says, yes, I'm different, #not sorry. Coolest t-shirt, right? It's my favorite thing. It's my different ability t-shirt, and I have it branded on the back. I have to get those remade because so many students last week were like, we want one. And I'm like, I think there's like 2 left in inventory. So like, I need to get them back up and ordered. So I'll be doing that. And I am going through the process of trademarking Motivation Moment. That's my YouTube channel area, but there's a whole other brand within that. But they do connect. They really do connect overall. Yes. And lastly, my podcast is the Different Ability Podcast, and you can find it anywhere where you like to listen to podcasts.
Fantastic. And I will put all your links in the show notes so everybody can see directly where you are and get in touch. And do listen to Katey's podcast because it really is inspirational.
Well, I'll say thank you for that, but I think everyone should go listen to the episode that you're on, Anita, because I mean, it is incredible. I couldn't stop smiling when I was editing it. The whole time I'm like this, just smiling as I'm listening to this, like, this is so good. And so I just want to say, go listen to that episode. And it was just aired a couple weeks, so it's pretty fresh on the top. So you can go check that out.
Thank you.
Yes.
And thank you for sharing your courageous journey with us today. And by doing so, you have helped so many. Katey Fortun. So we are Create the Courage to be Fearless podcast. So what is your definition of courage?
My definition of courage is being you, being your true authentic self. And you hear that word all the time, but really do that. And the way you do that is find out who you are, connect with yourself and say, what am I good at? What are things I want to do better at, work on? What are my goals and dreams? And get out there and go be the true you, because people don't want anyone else. They want to hang out with you. People to remember, no matter what you're going through, your different ability is beautiful and amazing. And you as a human being are here for a reason. So get out there and just do what is right for you and the people around you and encourage them and tell your story. Stories matter, and connect with people and you'll change the world. Absolutely, you will.